So these three movements, we're going to break it down a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the details, because some of you who've done Taichi with me before, we do these movements, but I want to really be sure about how you do it is in a way that feels the flow of energy throughout your body. When you do it correctly, your body starts to relax. So Steve is going to start with the catwalk, which is the foundation of the brush knee twist step, followed by the repulsing monkey step. So you can follow him with heels together. And then he's going to begin lifting your right heel. Notice the shifting of weight.
So Richard, we're going to do the steps first, right?
Yeah. Pivoting, rotating the hip. Follow the best as you can. And then repulsing monkey. It's turning the right foot in 90 degrees. Pivot on the soles of the feet. Stepping back. Pivoting your foot. Remember to breathe. And then stepping back, heel together. Great. So Steve can do this. He's going to do this one more time. And notice where his foot placement is. Remember to breathe. So his weight is on his right, which is your left leg. Shifting back, turning the foot. Remember the knees are moving in the same direction as the toes. You can take smaller steps if you don't have a lot of space. Doesn't have to be big steps.
Sorry.
Steve is used to bigger steps.
You can demonstrate again. I'll take smaller steps this time.
Yeah.
So when we practice, Richard and I have been practicing for 13 years, and we have different approaches sometimes when we practice. But what doesn't change is actually the core foundational movements. And you could do this big step or small step. I'm more of a detailed person when it comes to these things. So there are a lot of different things that I do, focus on the little nitty-gritty details. But you could just do a general movement first, and then we'll go along with the little details later. So this is a smaller step.
And notice your hands too. Is your hands tense or relaxed? Right? Move your fingers. Make sure your hands are relaxed.
So we're going to do the backward monkey. Is it called the backward monkey, Richard?
Repulsing monkey.
Repulsing monkey.
Yeah.
Are the monkeys repulsive?
The monkeys are pretty active in this movement. Great. So the next step that Steve is going to show is the brush knee twist step, which combines the catwalk. So he's going to show you just the hand movement first. So notice his hand.
I'm going to actually move up so everyone can see me better.
Yeah. So follow his hand position.
So this is a start, which the key is that whichever hand is down, your leg should be forward. It's the same leg, but we won't worry about that right now. So we're going to look at the hands.
Yeah, and notice how his hands are spread out. right?
So 1. We're going to do that again. 1. 2.
It's great.
From the side view. So I guess we do the same side. Okay. So right hand, so this hand, right hand, down, left hand up.
Notice how one hand goes up, one hand goes down.
Again.
Notice his eyes is looking at his hand. And notice that both his hands are in the same plane. So his right hand isn't overextended, but it's like the same line here.
Okay. So did everyone get that? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so we'll do it one more time. One hand down, one hand up. 1. 2. Bring your hand close to your ear. 3. Brush out. 4. Push. So when you do it together, it should look something like this.
Great. And on the other side.
Oh, on the other side?
Yeah.
Okay. Again.
So remember to breathe.
So I guess we should do this side as well. On this side. Right. Great. So what's next?
So the next movement would be the repulsing monkey. So Steve would show you the hand movement of the repulsing monkey.
Okay. So we're going to start with one hand up, the other hand down. Okay. Now this palm is facing outwards, like so. The other one is by your hip area, like so. This one. Okay. So what we're going to do is this hand, the hand right near your hip, goes backwards. And then the hand goes up, comes back to the ear, and pushes out. This palm turns, and we come back. So one more time. I'm going to go like this. And this time I'm going to do it from the side view. Okay, actually, this side probably be better, right?
Yeah.
So this is down here. So we're looking, your eyes are always following your hand. So number 1, this hand goes down, this hand goes up, you're flat. When you turn, this palm, the back palm goes up, comes back, brushes your ear, push forward, this palm turns, and comes back. Now this is a little different from the other movement where all three are on the same plane, your hand, your palm, and your foot. But this, you want it right by your hip. So again, we're going to start here. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Notice Steve's spine is straight, his back.
You don't want to be like this.
So his back is straight.
Just take a moment to feel that energy. If you were to do this versus this. Good. So one more time. Gotta make sure that everyone gets this. Back to the original position. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Great. Great. And now Steve is going to combine the hand with the foot movement. First with the brush knee twist step. Okay.
So to start, we're going to go back to the 90 degrees.
Step forward with your right foot.
This part everyone knows. So the next part is that we pair it with our hands.
Notice his right hand is closer to the right knee or right foot.
And by the same token, you can do this. We'll eventually get here. I guess since we started with the hands like this, we're going to start like this. Much easier, right? So Richard, count me in.
1. He's leaning back, arms moving out to the side of the foot. 2. 3. Notice his hip shift. 4. And 5. His left elbow drops. Brush forward. 1. He's leaning back. 2. Turning, looking at his right hand. 3. Look forward, pivoting his hip. 4. Stepping up, touching his right ear. 5. Great. And then relax, step up, and finish. It's good. It's a little bit complicated, but it's also one of the more challenging movements. The repulsing monkey is also challenging. So I'm going to have Steve demonstrate the repulsing monkey footwork. Okay. So start with your right foot forward and your right hand forward. Once you get into position, begin turning your right foot in. 1. Look back, extend your arm. 2. Pivot the feet, the foot, and the arm. 3. Stepping back. 4. And 1. Turning your left foot in, look back. 2. 3. And 4. And notice your spine, your posture. Notice if you're breathing. And finish.
I guess we can do the side to give them a better perspective.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the cat step with the, what is it called again?
Rush knee twist
Rush
step.
knee twist step.
Yeah. So you can either follow his movement on the side, or you can just face screen. You're going to mirror his movement. So right foot forward, and then bring palms up. So on screen, it would be your left hand higher than your right hand if your right foot is forward. And 1, extending. 2, three, step forward, 4, and 1, leaning back, 2, looking at your left hand, 3, look forward, 4, touching your ears, 5, so your back leg, you notice Steve's back leg is straight, spine is straight, and then finish. And then repulsing monkey. So on your screen, your right hand is forward, your left hand is on your hip, and your right leg is forward. 1, you're turning, looking back. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more.
Do I have space for 1 more? Yeah, we do.
2, 3, and 4.
Actually, we could do this in the same step. You just take a half step back, then you take a half step forward. Still reverse. Yeah. If our students at home don't have enough space.
Yeah, so if there's no space, you can always take a smaller step, or on the same spot, be able to just move slowly.
I guess I can demonstrate that. Maybe count.
Yeah. 1. And if you get lost with the arms, just watch his feet. 2. And just do the foot movement, because this is not an easy one.
3, you could take the same step, and then you can take a step forward.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. You know, Taichi is very adaptable to the environment. When there's not enough space, we can modify it. It's okay. And as long as you don't get stuck. Sometimes we get stuck on a movement, or we like, oh, there's not enough space, or I'm not doing it right, or this is too hard. And so it's okay to like break it down to just the foot movement. As long as you're breathing, it's a practice of, again, flow, right? Being able to flow with the movement. And this is our first, if this is your first time doing it, It's not an easy movement, and so over the course or weeks, you will start to actually get more familiar. For those of you who've done it for a while, even right now, it's still challenging because it could be on the screen, the angles are a little bit different, but at least we're a little bit closer, so you can actually see the steps.
And the other thing is that if you're just doing the legs or just doing the hands, it's okay to do that as you start. We're going to review this later, and also you're going to have access to this video later to rewatch this, so don't worry if you missed something. The other thing I want to share with you guys is our grandmasters, so our Shifu, who's passed away since. He before, when he was in his wheelchair, he would just do this with the hand motion.
Yeah. Right. So for some of you who are not mobile, or you just want to sit and do the movement, many of these movements we can do just with the hand while we're sitting. So this movement we can just do it while we're sitting, waiting. Right? Many of the movement is, again, adaptable. And one of the things that we want to teach is that Tai Chi is a lifestyle. Do this whenever, wherever. Just like when we're waiting for the bus, we can rotate our ankles as we're waiting.
And Richard, why is it important, I guess? It begs the question of doing this motion.
Right. This motion really opens up our energy, because oftentimes we're not aware of our hands. And so you'll notice some of you, when you do this, even just be in this position. Notice if you can feel energy moving through your hand, your finger. There's power in the frame. When we do these Tai Chi forms, there's a frame that we create, right? Why is it not like this? Why is it like this?
So I want you guys to notice something. It's really valuable that Richard has demonstrated this. We could take a look at this frame right now. From here to here, it actually forms a circle.
So the rounder the frame, the stronger the structure. So imagine a circle in your frame. And when we switch hands, see if you can feel the same thing on the other side. Great. Good question.
Rich, do you think we have the chance to do one more? The time to do one more?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So
wave hands like clouds.
Wave hands like clouds.
Yes. Okay. So Steve is going to demonstrate the hands first.
If we don't have time to finish this, we can save this for the next class. We're in no rush. The key is to get everything right.
Yeah. So the first movement, he's going to position his hands.
Take a moment. Relax. Take a half step out. Close the other toe. One hand goes in the front. One hand goes in the side. I guess, let's teach the footwork.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back here. Half step up. Take a step to the side. Transition your weight. Point your toes 90 degrees or 45 degrees. Shift your weight. Come back to the same spot. When we're practicing, I used to call this the crab walk.
So you're moving sideways like a crab. So you're just shifting and pivoting. Great. Now the other side. So notice his hip turns. We say the turn and the wheel comes from the waist. So notice that he's shifting his weight to your left, and then extending. And as he turns his waist, his toes turn. So you want to engage your core as much as possible.
And if you can, if it's not too much burden on your knee, you can do this in a lower level. If it's too much on your knees, you can do it higher.
Yeah. So any of the movement, you can, when you lower the stance, it actually strengthens your leg more. So if you're doing it lower, then you'll notice you're more engaging the lower. But if you want to train more your spirit and relaxation, the higher stance is better.
So with it hands.
Yeah. Stepping to your left, lift your left arm in front of you like you're holding something. Looks like this. 1, turn to your left, extend your left arm. 2, look forward. 3, and 1, switch. 2, now turn to your right, extend your right arm. 3, look forward. Now look to your left, step. 2, 3, turn, look forward, step in, switch. Remember to breathe. 1 more. Look left. Look forward. Step. Great. So wave hands like clouds. One of the things that you might want to find, sometimes I do this with my class, is find the flow in the movement. Because sometimes when we're breaking it down to 1, 2, 3, it might be a little bit challenging. So I would like Steve to just do it once without stopping. And so you can kind of see, or you can do it and follow him, or move in your own speed. Because again, some of you may move faster, slower. And so I'm going to have Steve demonstrate that one last time.
So my speed or
your speed?
my speed? Yeah. It's the way I practice.
Yeah. So find the flow. Steve may move a little faster, a little slower. Notice the stance is a little lower. And if you run out of room, just move your arms. Great. It's good. Great. So I guess the next part is we're going to do the breathing exercise.
Great. So I'll let you have the floor.
Great.
You can be there for one.
So in the breathing exercise, Steve was leading it last 2 times. I'm going to add one more movement to the breathing. And so usually we close with this breathing. This breathing actually is very beneficial. You can just do this breathing on a regular day practice. Many people say that like the body starts to feel warm. I notice my energy start to move. And so even if you wake up in the morning, this practice is good to do it in the morning. You can also sometimes do it in the evening. Though some of you, when you do this, you might feel energized, so you might not be able to sleep. But if you do it slowly, you might find yourself more relaxed after. So you have to play with it, see how you feel, or if you feel that your body needs to move a little bit, maybe you've been sitting all day at home. So this movement, again, is, we call it our closing movement. but you can do this at any time. So we're going to start with, again, heel together. We're going to shift our weight to the left, lift our right leg, step. First movement is cross hands, palm up, float down, we're going to repeat that. You want to ideally do this in one breath. Breathe in and out. Second movement. Breathe in and out. Repeat. You want to take up as much space as you can. Opposite direction. Palm up. Breathe in and out. Breathe in. Palm up. Look up. Middle fingers touching the crown of your head. Coming down the center. Third movement. Lean forward. Arms back. Breathe in and out and in, out, repeating. Last movement. Back hands touching. Breathe in, open, back, down, push out, feel the stretch, and relax. Bring your left toe out and slide the heels together. And we're just going to put the palm in your abdominal, eyes closed. And the abdominal is again below the belly. This is the dantian area. You want to breathe into your belly. We're going to meditate for 1 minute. We're going to slowly open our eyes. We're going to breathe in, stand on your toes, and out. Breathe in, out, and out. Great. We're going to do self-massage. So we're going to step out and just rotate the abdominal. Massage up, higher in the arms, chest, shoulder, hips. So you can pat or use a fist. Notice the sensation in your body as you're patting. Chest. Use a fist, center. Right palm up, patting from shoulder to hand, palm down, back hand to the shoulder. Switch. The other hand. Armpit. You might notice some sensitivity in these areas. The other side. This is really good for the liver. It helps your digestive system. Good for your heart as well. Sides and back. Down the leg. Up the leg. Massage your lower back. Up and down. So using your middle finger, go down to the sacrum bone. If you're sitting all day, you might notice a sore. So this is really good to massage. And then face massage. Massage your hands. Palm to the eyes. Rotating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Massaging the face and just combing through your hair. Pull your ears down. Pulling it out. Pulling it up. Push on the ears. And just relax. Massaging your gum with your tongue clockwise 8 times. Just swallow the other way. Good. Curl your thumb. Massage the side of your nose. Just up and down. And then use your knuckle to just massage your jaw. use 2 fingers to massage your temples. We're just going to tap with your middle finger on top of your head, forward and back, and sideways, down the sides, up and down. And then just massage above your ears, behind the head. Great. We're going to bring Steve back in.
That's great, Richard.
We're going to finish with a bow. Great.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that class today.
Yeah.
This is the first of many.
And again, we are open to feedbacks. For some of you who've already given us feedback, it's really helpful. We're constantly improving our classes. This is new, as you know, and we're really wanting to provide you with quality Tai Chi class. It may be a little bit different, and it takes a little getting used to, but we're definitely open for your feedbacks.
So, Richard, did you want to talk a little, for the last part of the class, do you want to talk a little bit about our outfit?
Yeah, I really do. So you'll notice like white outfit, but black shoes, and Steve has black outfit with white shoes. Again, most of you know of the Tai Chi yin yang symbol. And so the yin is more the black, and then the yang is more the white. And in Tai Chi yin and yang, there's no good or bad. It's not about good or bad or what's better or what's not. Both is just contrast of 2 different energies when we talk about yin and yang. And so when we're practicing Tai Chi, often in the movement, we have up or down movement, forward or back movement, and we have like tension and relaxation. And so these are many of the yin and yang concepts that we have. But you'll notice that the white part, that contrast, the tiny white part is like the dot, the Tai Chi dot on the dark side.
And you have the white with the black dot.
Exactly. And so the small dot is actually very powerful because the dot means a lot of different things, but for me personally, it's the point of transition, it's the point of change. It's the point where it's not all black or white. There's actually, there's an opportunity, it's like a seed of something different changing and transforming because of the dynamic relationship between the black and white into something more.
And one of the things that we were originally thinking about our name, what we really want to name the system, we know a few things. We know that it's important to bring more of a partnership into Tai Chi, because later on we'll be showing you guys things that you wouldn't be able to do alone. For example, the push hand exercise, where it really requires interaction. So because there's 2 sides to everything, and that's why in our class it's really important to have this dynamic to be able to show you guys how Tai Chi is practiced by yourself, how to balance harmony between yourself, and how to balance harmony between other people. In our normal daily lives, my personality is more a yang personality. Richard's personality is more of a relatively yin personality. He has more calmness, stillness. I have more energy. I bring in more dynamism in our relationship. But the thing is that we counterbalance each other. And originally we wanted to come up with a name of Balance Flow Tai Chi.
Yeah.
We really thought it was too wordy.
Yeah.
And the balance shouldn't be really reflected in our name, even though it's a very important concept. Flow is important. Balance is internal. Right?
Because actually, when you have balance, you have flow.
Yes.
Right? That's right. Flow is the byproduct of everything in balance. When things aren't balanced, things don't flow. And so in our practice, we often say everything in moderation. And when things are moderate, things are actually flowing better. Sometimes we go to extremes. And one of the things that you know through our practice of Tai Chi is that we never do things in extremes, because that's when we actually hurt our bodies.
So there you have it, guys. Hope you really enjoy this. Now we're going to open up our class to the next phase, which is the Q&A section. So Sarah will be moderating. Anytime, you guys, if you're comfortable, unmute your mic. You can ask us questions, or if you're uncomfortable, you can send us an email. That's okay too. We'll answer those. We'll take a look at those. Also, if you want, if you don't have a microphone, you can type out the question directly into our chat system, and then we can address it there. All right.
Great.
So if you have any questions, let's unmute. Yeah, I want to mute it. So it's good. We can hear everyone. Does anyone have any questions?
Hi, Steve. Hi, Richard. It's Ellen.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi. I thank you very much for the class. Question. When you said during the breathing exercises to breathe, like in that 1 minute meditation, breathe from your belly. How do you know you're doing that? Like, I don't know
Good
how,
question.
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
So when your hand is in your belly, when you breathe in, you'll notice your belly is pushing on your hand. And some of us aren't able to do that. So if you look at my hand, I'm breathing in.
So Richard, where's your belly button?
My belly button's right here.
Right.
So I'm right below my belly button, right? I'm not covering my belly button. And when I breathe in and out, some of us, when we're starting, you might find it hard to breathe here. You might need to put your hand here or even here, notice that I'm breathing in and out.
So that right there is a chest breath. So I think, Richard, maybe turn your body sideways so they can see, yeah, right there. And then let's see if they can, yeah, there we go.
And then if I were to bring my hand to my stomach,
Let's get from the dantian.
And then this the dantian, the lower belly breathing. So that's what I call the belly breathing. So as we practice more, you'll notice your breath go deeper and deeper, but sometimes we have blockages in our body and it's hard to breathe. That's why these movements of moving your arms actually help to open this area. Or when you go like this, it's massaging the center of your body because there's a meridian here that controls the flow of our breath, and there's different pressure points that sometimes gets blocked when we have breathing issues or digestive issues or menstruation issues, and it's harder to access this area. So our goal is to actually open this area up and improve the flow of this area so that we're free from any kind of illnesses.
So the other thing, which I think we're going to get into later on in our class, is how to actually do that thing,
right?
With more exercises to help control our lower dantian, right?
Yeah.
So like shoufu-tiga.
Because in Chinese medicine, this is like one of the important treasures, right? Why do we need to breathe through here? What's the importance of this? Because in I guess we can call this our core, but this is also where we store our essence. And when we talk about essence, we're talking about this very important substance that's been distilled by breathing through the food that we eat and through meditation. You'll notice this area, the essence builds. It's like our reserves for our energy. And so the more reserves we have here, the more essence we have, the stronger our body is, the longer and the healthier we are. The essence is what fuels our hair, our bone, the nutrients in our body. So it's a very important thing that when we're breathing, belly breathing or deep breathing, we're just building our reserves, but also increasing the flow throughout our whole system. Because oftentimes the first area that we lose flow is our toes or our hands. That's why we have cold hands and feet. And then we start to activate this area. Then we start to feel warm in the whole body, and you'll feel your hands is much warmer.
And it's that, we brought up this point. Last class, I recall, talking to everyone about the importance of Tai Chi returning your body to an infancy stage. If you guys see infants, or if you guys have kids of your own, when they're younger, when they're sleeping, you'll notice that their belly kind of go, they kind of go up and down, up and down. What they're actually doing is a really natural form of breathing. It's a breathing, it's a deep breath, and it's in its infancy. When you see kids going like, they're either crying because something shocked them emotionally, or they are sick. So really, you want to have the breath down. It's not that your belly can physiologically breathe. It's actually because you're breathing deeply, your diaphragm is dropping, and then your belly is coming. So as we go through the course, you guys are going to hear me referring to this a lot, going back to infancy, because we're trying to preserve our bodies to be a younger self, and we're trying to stay healthy. Great question. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
At the beginning of the class today, I think one of you said that the three movements that we did today were fundamental to the entire form.
Yes.
And I understand that in terms of brush, knee, twist step, because it happens again and again through the whole form. But could you explain how those three particular moves are what you said, which is essentially foundational to the whole sequence?
Yeah, I love that question. So, Richard and I were talking about this in the beginning, how to simplify this entire system, because we practiced for like over 13 years. So how do we simplify? And our teacher actually did a lot of work in doing that. He pretty much summed it up in the entire form. If you know nothing, if you don't have any time, because a lot of us are busy, right? We're practitioners. I'm an osteopath and an acupuncturist. Richard is a Chinese medicine practitioner. And if we're not looking at our patients, sometimes we're studying, we're traveling to different places to study. And it's really hard to practice the entire form, even though our forms are a lot shorter than the traditional 114. It's shorter, but we still don't have time. So with this core form, what it really does is that it answers the question and encompasses the movement of forward, backwards, and sideways. So you'll see, I guess I can demonstrate a little bit here. The Lo Xiao Bu, twisting and brushing, twist up. I'm going to have to get used to the nomenclature a little bit. So it's going forward. Essentially, this governs motion forward. And when we look at the hips, and we will get into this way more later, is when we look at the hips, you are constantly exercising this to be a Tai Chi ball. What that means is that it looks like, notice my hip. So that was yang, transitioning to yin, going into more yin, transitioning to more yang, and back into more yin. So this step actually, it goes forward. This is the twisting, knee, brushing. Twisting, brushing, twisting. The other thing is that when we do backward, the repulsing monkey, that's easy to remember. So when we do the repulsing monkey, essentially it governs backward flow, right? So when we do this is back step. And then side step. You'll notice that I'm doing this kind of freely. I'm doing it quite quickly. Because Tai Chi essentially, at one point, was developed to be a martial art. So these movements aren't set. And this is one of the things that we really want to bring to you guys, is that through the repetition of these movements, through the practice of these movements, you can connect later much easier and get form. Right? Each of these movement has purposes. Each of these movement has a reason. We'll get into that a little more. So that's why these three movements, which governs front, back, left, right, is the core. There's actually one more that you already learned. We're going to add it to later, but we don't really want to emphasize that right now because it's a lot of intermediate level and mastery level meditation. It's more internal, which is this. So you have back, left, right, center. So that governs. That's the reasoning behind these systems.
And so you might even think like, well, what's the difference between this versus dancing, right? Because dancing is moving forward, back, and left and right. But Tai Chi is very fascinating when you think about what we're doing here, is that it requires the mind to slow down. for us to actually pay attention to the body and coordinate the hands to move at the same time with the feet as you're stepping, and being able to do it in a very mindful way. We're connecting our mind with our body. And when we do this, even when we're out and about and we're walking, or when we're waiting, or when we're stepping backwards, we are able to actually feel the energy around us. We have a better sense of our own body. We have a better sense of where your foot is stepping, and you have a better sense of your engagement with your environment. And that's really key. Where why do we even practice Tai Chi, right? And so to better our health is to better our spatial awareness, to better our coordination and balance, and our sensitivity, so that we can actually react very quickly. Just like I often say that, like if I misstep and I trip, at least my body can react and step and recover very quickly. And so actually when we walk backwards, often we have fear, often we tense up, or we don't know how to move. And so when we're doing our repulse monkey, it helps us to engage this backward step, but in a way that you trust your feet, and to be able to feel what you're stepping into when you're stepping backwards. And so that takes time, because some of you, maybe when you're first starting, it's like, oh, I don't know where my foot is being placed. But over time, you can actually, without looking at your feet, be able to know where you're stepping and how much you're stepping, and being aware of weight transfer that your body is having, so that you won't fall. And so one of the things that our Tai Chi teacher often say is that when we learn Tai Chi, it actually improves our ability to do dancing and learn other movements.
He always says that, he relates Tai Chi to everything. And that's why, I grew up with it. And I started practicing Tai Chi. So it's been a part of all my life. So I adopted a Tai Chi lifestyle. You'll find once we get into the meditation aspect of it, and also once we get into the breathing aspect of it, you'll find that your life improves. Last time, we didn't have much time to go into depth, but today we have a little time, and you guys are already here. So one thing I really want to talk about with you guys is the importance of breathing. So last time, someone felt a little lightheaded after the breathing exercise. That's totally okay. And I often tell this to my patients as well, is that a lot of things in life you can do too much of. Breathing is one of those things that we seldomly do too much of. And when you do a lot of it, even at its extreme, it is often okay. It is not something that it'll go severely wrong. For example, you know that hypothermia or hyperthermia is too hot or too cold. It's a medical emergency, right? If you have high blood pressure, it's a medical emergency. But even if you eat too much, it's a medical emergency. But when you breathe too much, it's hyperventilation. Hyperventilation is not a medical emergency. Your body is simply in a state where it needs more air. It's saying that I'm in shock. I need more oxygen to fuel my body, to fuel my brain. The worst that can happen later is that you shut down and you might faint. But it's not necessarily life-threatening. Because our body composes majority of water, and water, what propels it is ultimately air. So when you have oxygen oxygenating your body, going into fusing with your blood cells, it's really, really healthy. So don't worry if you're feeling a little lightheaded, unless you have high blood pressure. Be careful with that. It's a secondary thing. But if you feel a little dreamy, kind of floaty, it's okay. You're oxygenating your body. And ultimately, that's going to benefit.
I have time for one more question. Anyone?
I had another question, unless someone else wanted to take a turn, because I've had one. But I was just curious, throughout the practice, you mentioned, I think once or twice, the use of the middle finger at some point, like to touch. What's that about?
Well, the middle finger is actually connected to a meridian we call pericardium, which protects the heart. And so we're basically activating this point to connect to the top of the head, which is our crown. This is where energy moves through our bodies. And It helps. It's like a highway that connects our whole body. And so sometimes when we are our energy, sometimes it moves up to our head. It needs to come back down. And so when we're doing these movements, we're bringing the energy up to the head. And when we touch with our middle finger, we're connecting our heart at this point, and then we bring it down the center, and we're massaging this other meridian in the center. We call it the conceptual meridian, right? And it comes down all the way to, again, the lower abdominal here, which we want to connect to the dantian, all the way down. Because oftentimes when we're ungrounded, our energy moves up to here, and so we connect to here and bring it back with our heart and our breath down into the lower abdominal.
And in Tai Chi, as we talk about balance, there's the other side of the story. So this side, on the inner side, we call it the yin side. This is the pericardium channel. On the outside, the other side, this is called the Sanjiao meridian.
Yeah, or the
triple burner or the triple energizer meridian. So what happened is that the triple energizer, essentially, it's a Chinese medicine conundrum. It's a question. It's a mystery, because pericardium is actually an organ, heart is an organ, kidney is an organ. Triple burner is not really necessarily an organ that we identified in modern science or in modern physiology. But what it energetically, right now, we know that our body could be separated into three parts: upper part, middle part, and lower part. So that is three, right? We could be medial, middle, lateral, or external. There's three. So ultimately, triple energizer represents a harmony or transition into a system of the body. So in Tai Chi, like the white dot and the black dot that we talked about before, as Richard mentioned, the key word is transition. Moving is very important. It's a concept of flow. Triple energizer, pericardium, all the middle channel is an axle. And the axle is responsible for the flow. So when we are tapping, ultimately we're engaging the middle axis of our body, and then we're transitioning that energy. We're flowing that.
An analogy that I sometimes use is the organs in the body is like different rooms in your house. And the triple energizer is the thermostat that regulates the temperature of your house.
It's a regulator.
It's a regulator. And so when it gets too hot, your body gets too hot, the Sanjiao activates to help to cool you down, or when you get too cold, it activates to warm. And so it's important that our body is regulated, right? Oftentimes our body gets too cold or too hot, and we use external ways to regulate, like heating or air conditioning, but that's actually not helpful for our bodies. Our bodies actually need its own regulation function, just like our body needs our own immune system to fight diseases. And so what we're actually wanting is to engage the body in a way where it helps to better its regulation function, better its digestive and our immune system. And so Tai Chi actually, when we're doing some of these movements, we're kind of massaging the organs and massaging the meridians to help things to flow better in the body. Because in Chinese medicine, when things don't flow, we start to develop pain, disorders, and different conditions in the body.
Yes, that's super key.
Yeah.
Lack of flow and lack of.
Yeah.
So we have two, because we have to tonify and we have to move.
Yeah.
Right. So tonify, regulation. If you tonify without moving, it gets stuck. And then you have things that are getting stuck, whether it's stool, food stagnation, blood stagnation, whatever it gets stuck, you develop diseases.
Right.
So then flow is really important. But if you have not enough, what is there to flow? So tonifying is also important. So gather energy, move it.
So this brings to the end of one of the things that I want to share with you is if you're more interested in some of our health talks, right? Because Steve and I, we're going to talk a little bit more about Chinese medicine. And this Friday, we have our topic on food.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Because we have a lot of questions about food. And one of the things that we both want to share is what Chinese medicine thinks of in terms of eating, how we eat, what we eat, how it affects our bodies, what's a balanced way of eating, how do we eat freely, how do we eat what we love to eat and also stay healthy. And so those are really important things that we're going to talk about for an hour. And we will send you email. So check your email. and you can sign up. It's a part of the package. And if you have any questions, you can shoot. Sarah will be responding with email. And if you have any questions that you have prior to, feel free to like send it to Sarah or simplecures@gmail.com, and we will answer your question in the health club.
Yes, and please don't hesitate to ask us questions. When I was practicing Tai Chi, and even throughout life as I'm learning Chinese medicine and constantly practicing, I'm always a question person, right? So and it's sometimes some of my teachers give me feedbacks is that when I ask questions, the knowledge comes out because they have so much stored up here, and so do we now. Now that we're teaching, we learned quite a bit to share with you guys. We don't mind you guys digging for answers. It's okay. It's in here somewhere. We studied it once upon a time. We'd love to share it with you guys. So if you have any questions, don't be shy. Definitely just ask. Whichever way you feel comfortable, whether it's on video, like through our live seminars, live classes, or if it's on email.
And that's one of the things that I really appreciate working with Steve is he brings a lot of really interesting questions because I've been teaching for a while, but when Steve asks a question, it really helps me to really think about how to improve the teaching experience for you guys. And so this is one value that I see often with Steve, working with Steve. He can actually support both our work to be able to improve the ways in which we can teach. And so this is something that I'm greatly appreciated here to have Steve and working with him and to be able to offer something different and something that will better serve you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a great day.
Oh, wait. One more thing. Homework.
What's the homework?
Homework is practice your steps. Your twisting and brushing the knees. That's my
The
catwalk. And then the repulsing monkey step. Just practice the step. Everything comes from your lower body. Yeah. The arm, don't worry about it. Just practice the step. And if you've been with Richard for a while, you guys know the movement. Refine it. Keep practicing. That's the homework.
Practice without looking at your feet. So you can start with looking at your feet and then practice without looking at your feet. And for those of you who are advanced, you can practice even with your eyes closed.
But the key is to have hand-eye awareness, and then you want to follow whichever movement you go. Your head leads first.
And if you forget, we're going to send you an email link so that you can look at the video today and review it and practice it as we go.
Right. Yeah, guys.
Great.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.